alphabet time. Yeah, another episode and a few more letters. Hopefully we'll get past the point where some letters get more than one entry, but today is not that day. In fact, we're only covering G and H, so let's get to it.
G is for Gizmo. Gizmo's a dog, so he should really be filed under D, but I'll give Jess a pass on this one.
This little guy has been part of our show since a week after we got him. He first appeared in the Fleischer Brothers episode. Most of his appearances are in bloopers episodes because people love puppy videos. His most notable appearance, however, was in the Holiday Hell Saga of 2020. When we did our own version of A Christmas Carol, he was Tiny Tim. And no, he still isn't quite housebroken. But at least he's reached that point where when he has to go, he'll find either me or my dad and bark at us before he poops in the house, so you can't say he isn't trying to tell us. He used to be afraid of everything outside. He's still pretty scared of some things, but he's realized most of our neighbors are nice and he likes to go outside sometimes. Especially when the people puppies or neighborhood children are out. He knows they just want to pet him and give him extra training treats. Fun fact, due to a glitch in his programming, Nick's canine to English translator voice for Gizmo sounds a lot like me, only really sped up.
G. Great Gazoo.
Yeah, the Martian guy from the last season of the Flintstones. The day he showed up on TV in 1965 was the sharp jump point for the franchise. That was when the Flintstones went from an animated sitcom that could be enjoyed by the whole family to a show parents put on for their kids at 7:30 so they could gather the laundry and do the dishes. Even before I started this show, I made a reference to the Great Gazoo, and it got a huge laugh for some reason. So after that, he got a nod in every video I did. That sort of stopped around the time I reviewed the Flintstones movie. I thought that would be the end of it, but he never really went away. He showed up in a few more episodes, most notably Plan 9 from Outer Space. I kinda had to since he was co-created by Joanna Lee, who played the alien woman. Fun fact, the original voice actor for Great Gazoo was Harvey Korman, who went on to do plenty of great movies with Mel Brooks, like Blazing Saddles, High Anxiety, and History of the World Part 1.
H. Hanna-Barbera.
This animation studio is responsible for the Flintstones, but I try not to hold that against them. After all, while their animation methods were incompetent even for the time, they were producing it in such bulk from the 1950s up through the 90s that every once in a while they would create a cartoon that was entertaining almost by accident. But where did this studio come from? MGM had two animators working for them named William Hanna and Joe Barbera. They created a little series of shorts for them called Tom and Jerry. MGM started slowing down their animated output as theatrical releases were no longer proving to be a viable distribution method for short cartoons. Hanna and Barbera saw how well their Tom and Jerry cartoons, along with Paramount's Popeye and Warner Brothers' Looney Tunes, were doing on a new medium called television. They went to MGM with the idea of doing new original content for TV. MGM said that would be really expensive and a stupid idea. But Hanna and Barbera had learned how to recycle animation cycles and backgrounds to bring cartoons in under budget. They knew they could produce about 13 episodes of a single show in a year, provided they could get the money. They lucked out. they got actual royalties from Tom and Jerry. Plus, they had a few Oscars under their belt, which gave them clout, including a friend who knew the head honchos over at Screen Gems. The company agreed to front an initial investment in exchange for the distribution rights and a cut of where the profit is really made, merchandising. And thus, Hanna-Barbera Productions was born. In 1957, they had one show and a very small team of animators. Within 3 years, they had enough money to hire almost all the animators who were fired from MGM. Not only that, they had work for them. While the Rough and Ready show was wrapping up, they had a whole slew of new shows coming out. The Quick Draw McGraw Show, Huckleberry Hound, Yogi Bear, and the Flintstones. By 1965, Hanna-Barbera owned Saturday morning with a little bit of competition. But they held it until Disney got into the TV cartoon market in 1986. Unlike some of their competition, cough, Filmation, cough, Hanna-Barbera still managed to hang in there for at least a decade. The 1996 series, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, was the last real HB show produced before they were absorbed into Warner Brothers. Every cartoon featuring Hanna-Barbera cartoons since 2001 has been a Beano. Hanna-Barbera in name only. Hanna-Barbera's biggest hit, Scooby-Doo, was relaunched in 1998 and has been active in some capacity ever since. Warner Brothers tried to do something with the rest of the Hanna-Barbera characters, but mainly to keep the trademarks active. Fun fact, for every great cartoon HB did, they did some really bizarre licensed cartoons. Everyone knows that. Laverne and Shirley in the Army, time-traveling Fonz. But perhaps the most inexplicable was Partridge Family 2200 AD, which featured recycled backgrounds from the Jetsons.
H is for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
This one has 3 reasons for being there. The first being that Nick seems to be under the impression that He-Man used to be Ralph's royal guard. He says the reason I don't remember it has something to do with the Quantum Leap review. You know, an episode that doesn't exist. The second reason is that in part 3 of the Saturday morning cartoon Chaos Spectacular trilogy, which, depending on when this episode is released, either just came out or is about to come out, I reviewed an episode of Masters of the Universe, which is the franchise He-Man originated in. The third reason is that Spectre Creative's Scott Toy Guru Nightlick helped me out on a non-did I get what I paid for episode. I promised anyone who helped me out on a video that they would get to pick a movie I reviewed. He said, "You don't have to do that." I said I want to. So now, at some point I have to review a certain cult classic featuring Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella. Fun fact, there is an inadvertent connection between the 2 Filmation cartoons I reviewed during Saturday morning Cartoon Chaos that I didn't know about while I was writing it and chose not to put into the script once I did because the episodes were already double-sized. But the failure of Wacky and Packy and Uncle Croc's Block as a whole in 1975 led to Masters of the Universe. See, Mattel really wanted to do a He-Man cartoon. Hanna-Barbera and Ruby Spears were kinda interested, but weren't entirely sold on it because the deadline was insane. They lost all interest when they saw the sheer number of episodes that Mattel wanted to make. However, Filmation had a long embarrassing string of failures between 1975 and 1980, they were literally going bankrupt. So they put in a bid that, while low, was still high enough to keep their creditors at bay for a little while. Whew! That was a long one. And we only got through 2 letters. Hopefully we'll get through more of them next time. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. To help this channel really grow, visit patreon.com/ParryErrorFilms and become a patron today.